Okay, this is the last notes for the fraction unit. It is, I believe, page F29, and it's just kind of a checklist of everything we've gone over for the different types of fractions. So we have like adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing all on one page here. And so what we're going to do, we're just going to go through the notes, and then afterwards I need you to go ahead and do some practice. Okay, so let's start with the adding, which is the very first one. And so obviously the first thing you do, hopefully we all remember, is we write the problem, we write it vertically. Okay, then once you write the problem vertically, you get common denominators if you do not already have them. Okay, and remember when you're getting common denominators, that whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. Then you are going to add the numerator. So add numerators and whole numbers. Okay, and you're going to keep the denominator the same. Okay, and finally you're going to change, well not finally, you're going to change improper fractions. Hopefully you can figure that out before I finish it. Improper fractions to mixed numbers. And lastly, just like always, you got to reduce if necessary. Okay, so those are all the steps to adding. Hopefully you can remember what all those steps are, and you can go right along and do those. Alright, let's move this over just a little bit so we can see the subtracting one a little better. Okay, so it's basically, it's pretty close to the same thing actually, right? For subtracting as it was for adding. So first we're going to write vertically. Okay, then we're going to get common denominators just like in adding. I'm going to run out of room on this one. Okay, then step 3, this is the main difference, right? First of all, you need to check to see, do you need to borrow if necessary? Okay, so you need to check to see if you need to borrow. Okay, step 4, subtract numerators and whole numbers. We're going to keep denominators. Then we're going to change improper fractions to mixed numbers. And then we're going to reduce if necessary. Alright, so adding and subtracting look pretty much the same, except for the one extra step you got to remember in subtracting. You got to remember to borrow if you need to. Alright, let's move it on over, and we will look at multiplying. Okay, so first of all, the first line is talking about mixed numbers. Okay, if we had mixed numbers that we're starting with, the first thing you have to do is you have to get improper fractions. Okay, get improper fractions. Okay, after you have improper fractions, you're all set up. You can cross cancel if possible. Okay, and then after you cross cancel, step 3, you're going to multiply across. Alright, and then finally, once you're all done, if you do have an improper fraction, you're going to change it to a mixed number. Okay, and if you cross cancel, there shouldn't be any reducing, but if you did miss the cross canceling of anything, then you will have to reduce. So don't forget to check for reducing. So maybe we'll add that at the bottom. Let's do 5. Check for reducing. Okay, make sure we get that in there. Alright, so multiplication, pretty simple. Change it to improper fractions, cross cancel if you can, and then multiply across and change it back to mixed numbers. Alright, so finally we got the last one. And that's division. So first step of division, same thing as multiplication. Get improper fractions. Okay, it's an S there on the end. There we go. Okay, step 2. Okay, now this obviously isn't the right way to say this, but we're going to copy dot flip. Okay, that's also called the multiplicative inverse. Okay. Well, that was pretty sloppy writing there. There we go. That's really bad. Anyway, multiplicative inverse. Okay, so after you copy dot flip, then we go to back to the steps for multiplication, because now we have a multiplication problem, right? So now we can cross cancel. And then after you cross cancel, you're going to multiply across. And finally, change to mixed numbers. Alright, so those are all of the different fraction types. So hopefully you can see that all. Make sure you got it all. Make sure you understand them all. Okay, adding and subtracting, you need common denominators. Multiplying and dividing, you need improper fractions or just fractions. You cannot have mixed numbers, so don't forget that stuff. That's the little things that'll trip you up. If you have any more questions, make sure you ask, and we'll do lots of practice on this.